Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via YouTube streaming, via Facebook streaming, and also via Skype group. We are coming to you live Saturday, 14th of July 2018. Yesterday there was a mistake, and I thought that it was Saturday, and that's why the live streaming went on. Sometimes these things are for a purpose. There is a question, but we begin the talk on pain leads to transcendence. Pain leads to transcendence. Someone asked, what to do in that situation when there is pain? Pain is the outcome of identification. Pain happens at the level of the body, at the level of the mind. And this happens because of the identification. You identify with the body. How do you identify in the body? Simple things. You say, I am sick. My foot is paining. This is the way you identify with it. There is another way of saying, I know there is pain in the foot. I am aware of it. You have disidentified completely with the pain. Just as if you hear someone saying that my head is hurting. I have a headache is a normal way. And to say that my head is hurting, as you can say that somebody else's head is hurting, you are not identifying with the part. Remember, you identify with the body, my foot, my hand, my son. When it comes to relationships, my wife, my husband. The same way we identify with the mind, possessions and everything. And that becomes the cause of the pain. We normally get angry, dog is barking. And you would hear people saying that I cannot meditate because dog is barking. You are affected by the barking of the dog, but is dog bothered about your meditation or your talk or your live streaming? No, unconcerned, he continues to bark. In the same way, you continue unconcerned with your work. You will see a totally different perspective. There is pain in my feet. You have not identified with it. You can find a solution for it. Just as someone in your family says that there is a headache, I have a headache. You may sympathize with it, but you will not feel the pain. When doctor performs an operation, he is performing operation on a body, on a patient. He is not identified. He is not saying that I have pain. The moment you learn the art of disidentifying yourself with the bodily pain or the mental agony, you will realize that transcendence will happen. You have discontinued with the body, you have discontinued with the mind, and that discontinuity with the body and the mind is the beginning of transcendence. The process begins then. Nur is another name for God. It is said in the beginning, Allah created a man in His image and He put the Nur from His forehead, and because of the darkness it came out. Then He took the Nur from the forehead of Holy Prophet Hazrat Payghambar Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and then it stayed. Whatever name we use, Nur, light, Prakash, Roshni, Chetna, Satya, Sat, Tamas, all refer to that which is. There is a particular scripture or whatever you may call it, 99 names of Allah. 99 is symbolic. Each name has a resonance with that which is with existence. Bible says in the beginning there was Word and the Word was with God. Hindus say there was a sound and the sound resonated. It is uncreated. All that is existential is synonym with God. Certainly light is another name for God. Hindus have prayer, 3 phases of the totality. From darkness move to light. From darkness to move to the light is a process. Tamsoma sadgamaya. Tamas means darkness, andhkar. Tamsoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. From death to immortality. That again is a process. Movement from darkness to light is one of the Hindu prayers. From darkness to light. Asatoma sadgamaya. Asat means that which is untrue. To that which always exists. And from death to immortality are 3 doors to enter eternity, the unknown and unknowable. 3 doors. Remember, all growth happens in darkness. When a certain amount of growth happens, then it is exposed to the light. We are born in darkness, and ordinarily we continue to live in darkness. In fact, darkness is the basic need in the beginning. Seed is planted in the womb of the earth in darkness. It grows there. A fetus, when ovum and sperm interact with one another, they fertilize, the egg fertilizes, and growth begins. It happens inside the womb where there is darkness. There is darkness in mother's womb. It is needed because light will be an obstruction in the growth of the child in the beginning. The child is so soft and tender that it needs velvety darkness. Darkness is velvet-like. It is velvety. It needs a velvety darkness to surround it, and the child in that velvety darkness sleeps for 24 hours a day in mother's womb. Sleeps 24 hours a day. The light will disturb his sleep, and sleep is a must. In those 9 months, the child is growing so much that there needs to be no disturbance. Otherwise, energy will be diverted. So darkness helps the child to remain relaxed. Everything in the beginning grows in darkness. You put the seed in the ground, you dig a little bit, make a hole, and then you put the seed in it. If you just throw it on the ground, then it may not grow because there is too much light. Why does seed, when you throw it on the ground just so, sometimes it may be lucky to capture the darkness and it may grow, otherwise they do not, because there is too much light, and much light disturbs. It needs the womb of the earth to grow in, where there is darkness. The darkness of the womb is needed for initial growth. The first step of growth requires darkness, the serene darkness, the velvety darkness. Once the seed has grown enough, it starts rising above the earth. Still it is tender. Then it starts reaching towards the sun, towards the moon, towards the stars, and towards the light. Then it needs light. Only a sufficient amount of light that only its innerness determines. The child is born physically, he comes into light, but spiritually he is still in darkness. So far I have been talking about the darkness that is needed for the process of growth to continue in. And that darkness, that is a spiritual darkness, which is ignorance. The prayer relates to that spiritual darkness where there is unconsciousness and the clarity of the vision is not there. The child is born physically, he comes into light, but spiritually he is still in darkness, and the darkness can be dispelled only through meditation, only through awareness. Hence, meditation gives you The second birth. First birth is physical and the second birth is spiritual. This begins with initiation. Hindus call it second born, Dvij. When you are initiated into the process of the growth, this is the second birth. And that is the whole meaning of initiation into renunciation, into sannyas, into the spiritual path. It is a second birth. Physically, you are in light. Now you need another birth so that psychologically and spiritually too, you are in full light. As I mentioned earlier, out of ignorance, your identification does not happen correct. You identify with the body, you identify with the mind, and in fact, body and mind are not separate. Instead, they are one realm, body, mind, and intellect realm. Intellect is the part of the mind. So body, mind, and intellect you interact with. You remain identified with it. So physically you are in light, now you need another birth so that psychologically and spiritually too you are in full light and there is no difficulty in it. It is just that people are not aware of it. They never think about it. They have never bothered about it. So they remain only physical beings, never grow spiritually. There is physical growth, there is mental growth, spiritual growth. While you are with me, or for that matter, while you are with an awakened one, you concentrate your entire energy on meditation so that you can learn the knack of meditation. Meditation cannot be taught, it is something that you have to grasp as a knack. It is a knack. Just by meditating one day, you will find which meditation fits with you and it has become your core, resonates with you. Use different techniques, practice them one by one, and the moment it fits, something clicks, you realize suddenly you know this is the method for me. And knowing is so absolute and categorical that no doubt ever arises in the mind. Then move with that meditation and let that meditation become the core in your life. Let that meditation become core in your life, the very essence, because you will be born into light through this. Many devices have been developed by the awakened ones. Shiva gave 112 techniques of meditation in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, where he speaks to Devi, his consort. She asks many questions, and in response to each question he gives a technique. Those are 112 techniques of meditation, and no technique is beyond that. She asks, what is this wonderful universe? Everyone is bemused the way the flower blossoms. I had some herbs to name mint planted in a styrotex container. One day I noticed there was a piece of the stem of mint came out of the styrotex wall on the side. It pierced through the layer of the earth, layer of the dirt that was inside the container, make a hole, way through. How did it do? Is it not bemusing? Is it not astonishment? To make a hole in a styrotex, you take a sharp object, maybe knife, and then it leaves a residue. It was such a clean hole, and a tender stem of mint finds its way through the styrotex wall, and it has grown full bloom. This is what happens when something clicks in you, something resonates with you, and you continue to practice that. You come into light. And this is why all these techniques are based on awareness, based on breathing. When the breath comes in, when the breath goes out, when it pauses, when it takes an upward turn, all these are important processes. Then once you find that something resonates with you, it clicks with you, then move with that meditation and let that meditation become the core in your life, the essence, because you will be born into light through it one day. Light or nur or awakening or chetna, these are synonyms, and this is another name for God. And to be born into light is the whole purpose of initiation, whole purpose of spiritual life. And initiation is the way to be with the Master, to be with the awakened one. Because initiation is not a process, it creates a bridge between you and the awakened one through which you can move freely. Otherwise, between the you and the Master, there is a wide gap, and that is oceanic gap. There is a river between you and you do not know swimming. So through initiation, you create a bridge, a communion between you and the awakened one, between you and the Sheikh, between you and the Master. And over that bridge, you can stand, you can move from one end of the river to the other. Movement becomes free. One end is the darkness to light. You can move from ignorance to wisdom. You can move from untruth to truth. You can move from part. You can move to the whole. This is the way to commune with the Master. The moment you are born into light, you are enlightened. You have just begun the process. But not everything has become the light. The moment you are born into that light, you are enlightened, and that is the meaning of the word enlightened. Remember, to be in that light means to become the light. The moment you are in light, you are light itself. Not that you are in light, but you are light. One melts and merges and becomes one with it. You are not two. You are not the seer and the light is not seen. The duality between the seer and seen vanishes. You become one. You are light. All dualities dissolve. The last word of Buddha on this earth was, last words of Buddha were Atman Deepo Bhava, Upper Deepo Bhava. Be a light unto yourself. What shall you gain by lighting so many lamps on the festival of light in the night? And we go with the competition that we are lighting 7, we take the mystical numbers 21, 11, 1000 and so on and so forth. The number is not important. What is relevant, you have lit the right lamp, the inner lamp. The inner light is lit, and that alone paves the way. Noor is another name for God. But for that you have to be in light. Be a light unto yourself. Atma Deepo Bhava. Upper Deepo Bhava. Be a light unto yourself. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.